What's up guys, CyberHoudini here and welcome back to your daily dose of gaming. It is Monday the 12th of April. Can you believe we're almost halfway into April already? What is going on? How's everybody doing? How was your weekend? Welcome on in. We've got a jam-packed day for you today. And this whole week is going to be very busy as well. On Thursday we have a new Resident Evil showcase from Capcom. Super excited for that. Hopefully we'll have some Resident Evil 25th anniversary goodies as well. Your weekend was good. Thanks for coming in so early, Bri. Always nice to see people come in that quick. My goodness, you spoil me. I appreciate that. Hell yeah, let's not mess around. Speaking of Resident Evil, we're going to kick off Resident Evil 7 directly after the daily dose. So stick around, stick around. We're 1 month from release of Resident Evil 8. The hype is real. I haven't played Resident Evil 7 since my original playthrough back in, was it 2017? It's been a while. It's been a while. Can't stay off. Okay, no worries, dude. Cheers. Cheers. Appreciate it. Alright, let's kick things off. Hell yes. We're going to start things off with a trailer for a brand new game. This is a game called Crowsworn, and it is very much inspired by, it's just released on, a Kickstarter has just started for it. And yeah, it's definitely inspired by Hollow Knight for sure. If you couldn't tell within 2 minutes of seeing it, but it looks super cool. They're going for a Hollow Knight meets Bloodborne, lots of guns and stuff, 2D, beautiful action. Hell yes, creepy as hell. And yeah, it looks like you're controlling this almost crow, like a crow maybe. I don't know. Not sure. It looks like a mask between like a plague doctor and a crow. I like it. There's a scythe in there as well. I'm down for this. People always like, you know, frown upon things that are like directly influenced or inspired by another game. I'm like, what the hell do you think video games are all about? You iterate upon, you know, new ideas, other ideas, you add things to them. And Jesus, every game is just another iteration from Pong and all those classic games, you know, Pong and Pac-Man, and yeah, you know, I'm like, at the end of the day, how long have I been waiting for a Hollow Knight Silk Song? So if you can have these kind of games that are inspired by it, like look at Blue Fire, which is definitely a 3D style Hollow Knight game. Yeah, they can definitely keep you going, and you never know, you might end up enjoying these new games even more. Hell yeah! So that is Crowsworn. You can go check them out on their Twitter, Mongoose Rodeo. It might be a little bit hard to find the game right now just because of its name. Google thinks you're trying to say crossword and all this other crap, but it is Crowsworn. Yeah, go check them out on Kickstarter. Awesome. Even pre-Kickstarter trailer, I like that. They've also got a video up of a boss as well, which I like. Fuck yeah, I'm always down for new games, and I like to start off the week with new games. That's what I'm all about here. Hell yes. Alright, on to the next piece of news. Kind of one of the bigger ones for today's title is there's been a lot of talk lately around what is going on over at Sony's first-party studios, you know? A lot of people kind of getting worried, kind of getting their knickers in a twist when there's no need to, you know. And just over the weekend there, David Jaffe was doing a small little podcast with Jeff Ross, who was like one of the main creative directors on Days Gone. Now he's moved on since December. He's moved on to hopefully greener pastures. I wish him the best. I did watch some of the podcast. It was pretty good. It was cool enough, you know, until they started bringing on people on phone calls and no one was there to moderate it. Oh my god, it was a disaster after that. But anyway, it was kind of funny to watch because everyone was going off like two old men trying to wrestle with technology. Or like that old Simpsons quote where it was like, old man shouts at cloud. Anyway, but yeah, so it was interesting enough to hear his pitch. And basically, in my eyes, the way we came off, he left in December. And it's clear that, you know, the pitch for Days Gone 2 definitely started almost directly after finishing Days Gone. And he said that that's usually how game development goes, you know, whether people want to admit it or not. You have to begin working on a sequel, sometimes even before it's greenlit. And that seems to be what happened here. Now, the talk, this all started from an article in Bloomberg from Jason Schreier. He's definitely gone and upset the whole thing. He likes to do that a lot. But when you start to single out some of the devs, then it's like, oh shit. So yeah, that's where it's all kind of started from. But yeah, Jeff Ross basically kind of hinted that I don't think Days Gone is actually gone. Days Gone 2 may still have a chance. We'll see. It looks like Sony Bend might be moving on to a new IP, but they could be working on both. We'll see. You know, I mean, this IGN are reporting that it was rejected. I don't know. Yeah. Yeah, because the NBA couldn't really sign it. So, I mean, you know, at the end of the day, all these articles are just really just circle jerking the same little piece of information. But I watched it and I heard it from the horse's mouth, and it does kind of sound like it's up in the air right now. But there's a chance we may get Days Gone 2. I hope so. It deserves a sequel. There was even a couple of polls done recently where, you know, did people want a Last of Us remake or Days Gone 2 more? And it was unanimous that people wanted Days Gone 2. Because at the end of the day, we want newness, you know? Days Gone is a new IP and a new franchise, in my opinion, whether Sony want to use that or not. They're being very cagey. I don't know what's going on over at Sony. I think game development's getting so expensive that they're slowly kind of whittling down what kind of big AAA games they want to do. I don't get it. They're after getting rid of Sony Japan, who were like, they specialized in doing those kind of AA style games, you know, like Gravity Rush and that, where, you know, they feel AAA, but I doubt they have the budget of it. Jeff Ross even talked about, you know, Sony Ben's past with the Siphon Filter series, and he said, like, even doing the first Siphon Filter game was about $1 million. That's how much, $1 million to $2 million it took to develop Siphon Filter. And it looks like even something like Days Gone cost, you know, upwards of 100 million. He wouldn't say the actual figure because most of the time they can't, or it's just in bad taste to talk about that kind of stuff, because people like to put, you know, value of game with worth and all that kind of, it's yeah, and obviously NDAs as well. But yeah, we'll see. I think if we make enough racket about Days Gone 2, that Sony will reconsider. In my personal opinion, they need a little more restructuring over there at Sony. I'm not too sure Jim Ryan is exactly the right person to head things up. He was the European head, and now he's like the overall head. And I'm not a big fan of what he's doing over there. I think Sean Layden was doing a good job, even though I didn't quite like the guy myself. And Shuhei Yoshida has taken a complete backseat. I'm not sure what's going on there. He would have been heading up a lot of the Japanese teams, and it seems that Sony's Japanese output in general is shrinking to non-existence. There's another rumor going around that they are focusing a lot of stuff on mobile, which oh Jesus, no. So I don't know what's going on. If I was to be a guessing man, I would say that just with the launch of the new consoles, both of these, you know, even Nintendo as well, they take a lot of losses, you know, they take a loss on each console. So even if you sell 10 million, you know, there was always that inside story about, you know, the first to 10 million usually wins the generation and all that. But that's not always the way. But, you know, at the end of the day, those 10 million... you're still taking a loss on each console. How's it going? Hello, DBG. Welcome. How was your weekend, man? How was your weekend? I hope things are all sorted for your internet and that. Are you still having issues with that? Or are you just kind of taking a break from streaming? It's all good. Either way. It's all good. So, yeah, we'll see how things go with all this. Becomes good. No internet. Okay, cool. Yeah, I hope we get a Days Gone 2. I really enjoyed that game. And now it's going to be put on PC pretty soon. So I would suggest if you want a sequel to support it any way you can. Yeah, I mean, I still think with them putting it on Game Pass is a good sign. You know, are they drumming up interest for a sequel, you know? They're definitely looking at numbers now. Yeah, okay, cool. I'm trying to think of anything else that really came out of that. The whole idea of doing a Last of Us remake, in my opinion, even it being, you know, in this case, nearly 2 generations old, it's still only, you know, seven years old, and I don't think we need to do that. Maybe it's a sure bet for them, but I think it's foolishness. You end up treading on something that was quite perfect, like The Last of Us. Yeah, if anything, what I would do is I'd do a Last of Us Part 2 director's cut or something and fucking change around the chronological order of that story because it was a disaster. The plans they want to do for a Days Gone 2, he was saying, you know, there's a possibility of doing like a co-op, a shared universe co-op game with zombies and that. I like that. He even said he was playing a lot of State of Decay recently. For anyone who doesn't know State of Decay, it's been an Xbox zombie series that desperately needs co-op and multiplayer. They've talked about it with, you know, Project Class 4 and that, but it never really happened. We'll see about State of Decay 3. They're great zombie games. I did enjoy Days Gone a lot, but it was clear that even Jeff Ross himself admitted that the Metacritic scores and that really, really ruined a lot of stuff. So there you go. The power of Metacritic and scores really does hold these games in the palm of their hands, and they don't give a fuck. That's why I think we should do away with Metacritic. I think it's silly. It's a silly idea of you know, one little website or review bombing something and it's all over. It's silly nonsense. If review bombing on Steam has taught us anything, that numbers and reviews mean next to nothing these days. And with the likes of YouTube and streaming, you can witness these games firsthand. No bullshit. So, yeah. Alright, cool. Let's see. Watch Godzilla vs. Kong. Oh my god, dude, that's insane, man. Jesus, you must know every line already. The Mummy. Oh, nice. The old Mummy's not that Tom Cruise one. Good god. Alright, on to the next piece of news. This, a worrying sign, also sticking with Sony, is around the PS3. So we know that the PS3, PSP, and PS Vita stores are closing soon, but it looks like we're already seeing some horrible sides of this story. It looks like people can't even download the patches for certain games. So it's clear once these stores go away that also the servers supporting the stores will also be shut down. But I don't know if it's a Sony thing or what, but it seems like the patches are all together. So it looks like, yeah, obviously we know you're not going to be able to download certain games. It makes sense they're not on the store. But the patches as well, that is ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. So certain games that require these patches to just basically work may now become obsolete. And it's so fucking silly. This is another sign of Sony really dropping the ball. So unless this patent for them doing backwards compatibility and emulator inside the PS5, I don't know, like a virtual emulator, I don't know what they're going to do. But this is really bad press. Sony hasn't said anything at all. This is really bad. Like, we're talking about fucking legacy for these consoles. I get it, a lot of people are like, we got to move on to the future. But you can do both. Xbox have shown that. Even Nintendo showed a little bit better, where you can still, you know, maybe even like sell back the old games. But we'll see. Tom Cruise does a lot better. He does a lot better in any kind of movie besides fucking Mission Impossible. Like, the Jack Reacher movies are garbage. Night and Day was garbage. Fucking Oblivion was garbage. Garbage! That man, swear to God, he's great in action movies, but he cannot act to save his life. Jesus. He's like an action star. I wouldn't even call him an actor anymore. Let's see. Next move. Let's see. I'm trying to find this other awesome little piece of news. Here we go. Sticking with Sony. Very nice. Alright, cool. I had talked about this being a no-brainer. I like when we have a discussion, it leads into more and more different topics, and then you end up striking a little bit of gold where it ends up everybody talking about it. But yeah, it looks like PlayStation are definitely going to get some kind of rival service to compete with Game Pass. It looks like they might be doing what I thought they might be doing, where they won't call it PlayStation Ultimate, but it looks like they're going to try and put like PlayStation Plus and PlayStation Now together in a bundle. This would be the perfect way of doing things. It's the only way to compete with Game Pass, is either match or even do better than their competition, you know. I cannot wait for the new. Yeah, it'll be next year, 2022. You've got time. Don't worry. God of War Ragnarok will be. You've loads of time. It'll be a good year from now. I'd actually say exactly a year from now. I'd say April 2022 for God of War Ragnarok, if I was to be a guessing man. Alright, so yeah, this is good news. The competition breeds more results for us, the consumer, for the gamer, you know. So that's great news. I think if PS Now is to stand on its own legs, it needs to do this, you know. If it wants to be a viable service. I've talked to so many people and they don't even know what PS Now is, and that's shocking, you know. And I think even a lot of the devs themselves have talked about they need to restructure, rebrand it, relaunch it basically, get rid of all that streaming nonsense, you know, allow you to just download the game exactly how PS Plus works, and it'd be simple, you know, really simple. I still don't think they'll put like first party games on it, first party Sony games on it, and I don't think they need to. I think that's a stretch too far for Xbox. It does help things like, you know, Outriders going at launch and MLB The Show. That's up to Xbox, you know. That's a big old fat check. But I wouldn't put the first party. Putting first party stuff on it, I love it. It is ridiculous value. But I don't know. There's no hope in them making back that kind of money. you're going to do that as well. But we'll see. I mean, the joke around town is, you know, obviously Xbox doesn't have that many first-party things to put on the Game Pass yet. But over the course of the next year, 2, even 3 years from now, it's going to be a big generation. And if things keep going the way they are, we're going to see a lot of migration or people double dipping and moving to Xbox a little bit, you know. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's just you go where the games are, you go where the competition is. And Sony right now are definitely making a little bit of bad PR moves. A lot of people say, you know, it's best to say nothing. Don't comment on these things, whether the rumors are real. I understand that, but also staying quiet for too long leads to some very, very bad blood, very bad ideas. You know, people out there are already making their own minds up about all what's going on with Days Gone 2 and that. And yeah, so I don't know. We'll see. It's good news. You know, I wouldn't get worried. People getting worried and knickers in the twist, but there's no need to. It's all good. The future is bright for all the consoles. This is the start of the generation. Like I said, I just think it's a little bit just uncertainty with you know, like how the first year is. It's a little bit rough because a lot of the profit margins get sliced thanks to consoles. You lose a lot of money on consoles. You make the money back during software, and then a couple of years down the line, the consoles start to be profitable again once the chips and everything gets cheaper. But right now we know how bad things are with you know, getting chips. Can't even get the consoles out there. It's rough. But yeah, I wouldn't worry too much. I think Sony are going to blow us away at E3 like they always do. We'll get a big state of play and it'll be awesome. They'll all do good. Okay, on to the next piece of news. We have I was thinking this was going to happen eventually, but it looks like Microsoft Flight Simulator may actually be coming to Xbox One. I would say it'd be Xbox One Series X. I doubt that this thing will actually run on the original Xbox. Like, Jesus Christ. But we'll see about that. I was thinking this would happen. Like, just over the weekend, they talked about the new Age of Empires 4. It looks amazing. Just announced for PC, but I'd say we'll eventually get that on Xbox One as well. Yeah, they should, you know. Microsoft Flight Simulator has been a runaway success. It's always been a great little program, you know, long since used by actual pilots, you know, to kind of learn how to fly like a simulator, you know. That's exactly what it's for. But weirdly enough, thanks to streaming and just everything else, it's got a new lease of life for sure with the new update. I mean, it's the most lifelike looking game. It's insane. If they can get some of their actual video games looking like this, it would be amazing. I believe that the team that worked on Microsoft Flight Simulator was the same one that did A Plague Tale, which is pretty impressive. They should probably buy them. But yeah, that's pretty cool. This is always just rumor for now. It's a you know, Peggy, which is Peggy, I think is our in the EU, is our ratings, you know, over here. Not too sure about your guys in America what it's called. Maybe it's called Peggy over there as well. Anyway, I like to call it, it's PGI, but I like to call it Peggy because you're like Peggy. You'll hear Peggy. Anyway, so yeah, that's I'm glad more people get to play this, the better. Now they just need to like add proper keyboard and mouse for Xbox, you know. Why not give people the choice for both? Hell yes. Alright, next piece of news, we have the one and only Dusk Gollum once again reporting on Resident Evil. Dusk Gollum is one of these guys, he's like an insider, he's not an insider. He clearly works for some branch of Capcom, because this guy has unbelievable insights, just all things Capcom. Eventually he's probably going to get found or taken down. That's what happens with most leakers. But for now, he's one of those guys who keeps going, I'm going to stop talking about this game, and then immediately starts talking again. So yeah. Dusk Gollum has been talking about the whole Resident Evil trilogy, this new trilogy, and he's been talking about Resident Evil 9, you know. We don't even have Resident Evil 8 yet, but it was clear that this is in the shape of a trilogy, you know. I had heard, I think it was even Dusk Gollum who reported on it, that Resident Evil Village, Resident Evil 8 originally started out as Resident Evil Revelations 3, which I don't know what's happening with that right now. But yeah, it looks like Resident Evil 9, whenever that happens, probably much longer down the line, you know, like 2024 or something like that. Because I know they wanted to do a lot of other things in the background. We know that there's a Resident Evil 4 remake possibly coming. Dino Crisis possibly getting remade. We shall see. Everything is just major rumors. But rumors have to start somewhere. And they have to get traction somewhere. So yeah, I'm excited. You know, if they keep the first person for Resident Evil 9, it makes sense. A lot of people don't seem to want Ethan to be the protagonist for even 8 or 9, and they think it's actually going to move on into another character. Now, I'm not going to get too much into spoilers here. I'll try anyway, but it can happen. Hello, Aaron. How's it going? Hello, hello, hello. How you doing? Hope you're well. You heading off to bed? Maybe not yet. This is a little thing I started up over the last month. Daily Dose of Gaming. It's just a quick little news roundup show. I do it at the start of each stream because we usually get into talking about a lot of great stuff during the gameplay, and I felt like if I can get all this stuff off my chest at the start, then it tends to help keep everything contained. Yeah, I'm doing good. Hope you had a great weekend. Hell yeah. So yeah, we'll see how things are going. I don't think they're just gonna magically get rid of, like, we all kind of admit that Ethan, you know, he's a whatever character. He doesn't exactly breathe a lot of life into the series, you know. You're meant to step into his shoes, you know. The dude barely even talks. But I don't think that matters too much, you know. I don't think it matters. I like actually the cameos of the other big characters from throughout the series. I like that. Opinions on Days Gone. Yeah, Days Gone. I love Days Gone. I think it's a great game. Like, it got a lot of 7s out of 10, and it actually hurt it. Which, yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on right now. I just talked about it, but it looks like Days Gone may still survive. We'll see. What happened was, yeah, a lot of those reviews hurt it. Even when I streamed it back then, I had so many people coming into the stream going, is it good? What's it like? Because they were all thrown off by these horrible reviews, you know? Now, do I think it was a 9 or a 10 out of 10? Probably not. It was close to a 9, I'd say, you know? I actually think they did zombies better in Days Gone than most other games. I'm not even gonna lie, like, the closest thing to get those hordes like that is that moment in Left 4 Dead where they all burst through the door. That's the only other game that's really done it right. No other game really gets it right. They're always slow, lumbering. Like, Dying Light gets it right with the volatiles, but, you know, they're few and far between. That's nighttime. I'm talking about hordes chasing after you at breakneck speeds. And just watching them pour out in Days Gone, it felt like that moment in World War Z where they're all climbing up on the wall. And you don't even get to see that in the World War Z game. It's just a mess. Just a mess of blurry nonsense. But anyway, yeah, I think it's a great game. It's like Sons of Anarchy meets Last of Us. It's a little more open than Last of Us. Yeah. It all depends on the game, you know. Last of Us didn't want to do hordes of zombies. They wanted the idea of, you know, the instant death from the clickers and that, and it worked much better that way. It allowed them to have those kind of tight, linear kind of hallways where you were getting killed. You were kind of stealth from. They call them monster closets. That's what they call them. It's really just a room. You got to get round, and not get killed. So yeah, the rumor that kind of, well, it wasn't a rumor, it was an article from Jason Schreier. He posted it on Bloomberg, and it was basically saying about how Sony Bend were taking off Days Gone 2, the cancelled Days Gone 2, and they were put on like a Last of Us multiplayer game or something like that, and there's rumors of Last of Us remake coming as well, which seems so silly. And just over the weekend, Jeff Ross, who was the creative director on Days Gone, but he's since left in December, he was talking to David Jaffe about stuff. And it sounds like Days Gone 2 is still on the table. Now, Sony Bend decided, the team over there went, we don't want to work on this multiplayer because we're going to end up getting absorbed into Naughty Dog, and we don't want that. So they moved away. They're now working on their own IP. So we'll see where it goes. You know, the future is bright for all the Sony devs. Everyone needs to just calm down. It does seem like they're probably shrinking their portfolio, but not their studios, you know. So they're going to work on maybe less AAA games. But who knows what that means, you know. You're still going to get a good output of maybe 2 games per studio, which is still huge. Most big studios only get about 1 AAA game out per generation. This is the issue. Games are getting more expensive, and Sony are at the lead of that, you know. They're the ones putting out what they like to call quadruple A games, which are costing, you know, upwards of 300 million to make, which is not sustainable at all. Even if PS4 brought in billions, and we know it did, you can't be sinking that into, you know, 5 years, $300 million for a game that's not gonna work out, you know. Yeah, I got shit. Alright, no worries, dude. Appreciate it. Later, dude. Later, have a good one. Alright, so yeah, back to Dusk Golem, talking about Resident Evil 9. Like, nothing, obviously, no story-wise, just that he's pretty certain that they're going to continue the way things are going with this trilogy. So you've got like, you know, Resident Evil 7 was kind of hillbilly style, The Hills of Eyes, Texas Chainsaw Massacre horror. Resident Evil 8, Resident Evil Village, is pretty much very much like a gothic horror, Transylvania kind of style, you know. It's all based on old Romanian lore. It's amazing. It's going to be great. And then where would they go with Resident Evil 9? I'm not too sure. I'd like them to really subvert things and go somewhere crazy. Like Resident Evil 8 does seem to revolve around a lot of snow. So you've gone to the swamps of the bayou to the snows of Romania. I don't know. Here's the thing. As much as I did not enjoy Resident Evil 5, and that's just me, because, I don't know, it was just a weird direction. It was like action, too much lightness. But I think like an African style like setting could work. It really could work, and I don't think they portrayed it that well in Resident Evil 5. It kind of, a lot of people enjoyed it because the co-op, and that's great, and I think the co-op is great as well. It definitely makes the game, but think about the game as it is without the co-op. It's so bare bones. It's just yellow. The whole game is yellow and gold. There's a reason why Resident Evil 5 has the gold edition. It's the whole game has a yellow tint to it. And just, yeah, besides that, like, part at the start, but you're down in these kind of slums and favelas and that, and that's it. That's like the whole game. Anyway, I wasn't a big fan of it. I'm just that weird guy who likes Resident Evil 6. I liked it. Obviously, it's all in bits, you know, it's like 5 campaigns mushed together. But I like that you could just switch over and go like, oh, fuck it, this is fun. Oh, this is completely different. This one's kind of shite. But yeah, anyway. So yeah, it was important for them after 5 and 6, in my opinion, they had a choice, either like relaunch the series or let it die, and I'm glad they did. So yeah, 9, I would say they'll move on to some other cool area, more gothic, more first person, more Ethan, and then we'll finish off that trilogy. But yeah, Dusk Golem also talks about Albert Wesker, but it's all about the Netflix. There's a Netflix series coming, and you've also got like a movie. It's just, yeah, it's Resident Evil everywhere. This is kind of stuff. It's a little bit worrying because this is what happens to Capcom, you know, when they get really, really good. They start to falter by just milking everything. So you gotta be careful. As I'm a big fan of what Capcom are doing right now, and I don't want them to mess up. Alright, on to the next piece of news. Ow, my freaking eyes! I was talking about Sonic Colors getting a remaster, and it looks like it's all but confirmed. It just happens to coincide with the 10-year anniversary of Sonic Colors. Sonic Colors is one of those Sonic games that got completely lost because it only released on the Wii and the DS. It was just, yeah. Back then, Nintendo and Sega made like a pact, you know, and it was like, we're gonna put out a whole lot of Sonic games just for these, and it ended up backfiring, as you can imagine, as the Wii slowly died down. The Wii U never really became a prominent thing, you know. It was definitely, well, a lot of people consider it a misstep for Nintendo. Even, you know, it was a great console. We wouldn't have the Switch without it. But yeah, I think people had moved on. A lot of the casual audience that the Wii had grabbed had moved on. That's the unfortunate thing when you try to wrestle in all these goldfish. They have the loyalty and the attention span of a goldfish, and they moved on to probably mobile gaming, or probably no gaming at all. A lot of them weren't really hardcore gamers. They're not something that would like, oh, I'll just keep buying the next console and the next console. But you'd be surprised how many of those actually went back and bought a Switch, thanks to Animal Crossing, which also brought in a lot of the casual audience as well. So, and then they realized you couldn't buy a Switch. So it's mad. So yeah, Sonic Colors, it'd be nice to give that its chance in the sun. As far as I remember, it's actually considered one of the better 3D Sonic games that just got lost. So I'm glad to see that happening. Right now, they're just reporting on the same kind of dubbing studio that reported on a possibility of Sonic Colors happening. But the real telling part, I always say this, they actually removed that article. So whenever you know, a leak happens and someone removes something, in my personal opinion, that is more telling than saying nothing at all. So yeah, look forward to Sonic Colors probably sometime this year, later this year, I'd say, maybe for his 25th anniversary for Sonic, or 30? I don't know, everybody's celebrating their anniversary this year. Maybe it's 30. Sonic, are you 30? Are you 30 years old? I think maybe he's 35. How? No, he's 30. Good old Sonic. Gee, the dirty 30s for Sonic. I'd say they're probably working on a new game as well, but I know Sonic the Hedgehog 2 movie is coming out as well, so yeah. Sonic refuses to die. Good man. The blue hedgehog, the blue waffle, he will never die. Alright, on to a next little piece of news. A brand new trailer for They Always Run just released. This is a new indie game coming out. It's 2D based, as you can tell, and it's, whoa, it's very loud. It's based around this cool bounty hunter. Looks bad fucking ass. I love this idea. I hope to do more with that ship. I'd say it'll have some kind of Metroid style to it as well. You know how much I've been wanting bounty hunter games. That idea of turning around there and really reminded me of Flashback as well. So yeah, Cyberpunk, Space, Metroid, fuck yeah. I'm down for this. They Always Run. It's a great name for it as well. Look at that. Let's hope that combat actually shines like that. 2? And you've got this beautiful hand-drawn backgrounds as well. I saw a little bit of bullet reflection. Ooh, that's sick. So I'm guessing you're going to have certain bounties you got to collect. Some bosses. Lovely, lovely. I like it. The protagonist kind of reminds me of the protagonist from Hyper Light Drifter. Also had a very cool helmet with a cape like that as well. Ba-ba-bum. These kind of games, unfortunately, they get, you know, compared to a lot of the games that did well, you know, like Dead Cells. You're always going to compare them to Dead Cells. But as far as I can tell, they've not mentioned anything about it being a roguelike, you know. But yeah. Boop. Let me see what the Steam listing has to say. Yes, Aiden, a three-armed mutant who hunts. That's how he's able to, like, double block and stuff. Hell yes. Hunts the most dangerous bounties in the galaxy. Catch, slice, dice, and destroy enemies inside a 2D platformer with a spaced western setting. I like that. I like the western. I don't know. I didn't see much western there, but sure, look, I'll take it. Yeah, so far, just the 2021 release date for that one. But it's really cool. He's got 3 arms, though. As usual, I'm always excited to see what kind of bosses they can attempt with that. Let's see what else. Let's see what else they've got down here. There's anything over here? Oh yeah, side-scroller 2D, parkour. Okay, nothing about roguelike or anything. Not gonna lie, I'm kind of right at the peak of my enjoyment with roguelikes. I think Hades kind of nailed it. And at that point, you're kind of like, okay, I gotta take a breather on these. It is a great system. And great idea for a game. Especially in a world where you're trying to make your game as replayable as possible. But yeah, there just comes a certain time when, you know, you don't feel like you're getting that much progress. Alright. Cool. Let's see. On to next little piece of news. Oh yeah, I thought this would be nice just to kind of cheer things up after all the kind of, you know, PlayStation moves. But it looks like Sony, PlayStation London are hiring for people now. I think for PlayStation London were known for incredible games like The Getaway and that, and I think Wipeout as well. But lately, they've been mostly doing they've been doing VR stuff, you know. This is what I talked about before, that the danger of VR. I don't know why I was like stuttering there. It's because I'm trying to read at the same time. But the danger of VR is, as much as it's innovative and it's a really cool thing, it's also taken away from these developing just normal kind of games. So you're appealing to a far smaller audience, and thus a far smaller pool of revenue, you know. So to try and keep a studio relevant and open in these days, you've got to be bringing in that dough. And they did actually end up doing a VR game that was connected to the Gateway, or the Getaway universe. Sorry, geez, super hard to read and talk at the same time. Not gonna lie, thought I was better now. We had Blood and Truth. I think that was kind of connected, and then there was that small VR demo, if anyone remembers, where you were kind of like being tortured on a chair and stuff. Just fucked up. Let me see if I can find it. Was it called The London Heist? It might have been, actually. Trying to find it. I remember seeing it. I was like, Jesus. So yeah, I'd like to see these guys get a big budget. I think this may be the last of Sony's British studios, which is wild. I talked about this before, but unfortunately, it does appear that a lot of UK development talent is just disappearing these days. You know, Lion's Head was a big hit, a really big hit. I know there's still some good ones around there, but it's just sad to see that the same things happen over in Canada as well. And Canada was always a huge place for game development, but slowly but surely it's kind of shrinking. I think what's happening is a lot of the bigger studios are getting bigger, and then you've got these kind of AA studios that used to make a lot of licensed games and that. They're just completely gone, and you're kind of replaced with indie studios, which a lot of those are kind of startups. You know, they tend to keep their you know, their teams quite small. So if you get laid off from a big studio and you don't find anywhere quick, you tend to fizzle out of the or maybe start up your own studio. It's tough. It's super tough. I've never seen the games industry so competitive right now, but this is why more than ever we need a game developers union. I'm not usually one for unions, but we're at that point where there's absolutely no job security, and we're losing a lot of talent in the industry, and I fucking hate to see that. Alright, on to the last piece of news. Hey, how's it going, Laura? Hello. How was your weekend? Last piece of news, a little bit of a Battlefield 6 leak. Now, we know it's just going to be called Battlefield. Good old fucking, yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what they're doing with the names anymore. Battlefield's been weird since Battlefield 4. We had Battlefield 1, Battlefield 5, Battlefield Hardline. Yeah, it just happened to coincide at the same time where Xbox lost the ability to fucking count or name anything anymore with the X-Boner, Xbox Series X, that clearly isn't confusing all these mothers trying to buy, and they keep buying an Xbox One X. I don't know what's going on. Have they ever heard of like teams where you bring them in? They're, you know, you heard of them before. They're called fucking focus groups, where you actually bring them in and they go, "Hey, that name sounds fucking stupid." Either they're not using focus groups, or they're not listening to the focus groups. Because I wouldn't let anybody leave with the name Xbox One X. I wouldn't let them leave the room. I'd smack them round the head with a clipboard or something. Sounds like the stupidest thing. I know we have the Series X, which just sounds like sex. The X-Sex. And that's what it is. That's what we have. Weekend is underway. Oh, very nice, very nice. Hey, Monday. I support a game dev. Yeah, I think that's the only way, right? We're just talking about, you know, these games, or these developers worried about getting, like, absorbed into the bigger studios. And it sucks. Like, whenever a game is released, you know, they have the wrap party, same as any movie or anything. And it's great fun. And then you're very quickly shunted out the door, you know? Because what they do is they'll bring the teams way up, maybe even double in size. And then obviously when you don't need them when the game is out, they just let them go. And it's horrible. For a long while, thanks to like places like Seattle and that, which has a huge game development scene, you know, you've got a lot of the big guys up there. Nintendo and Xbox are practically next door, and yeah, that's been helpful. If your studio's up there, you can literally just go, okay, walk across the street and apply to that studio, you know. But it's not the same all the way around. Texas has a big one as well. But it's shrinking. The UK development scene is very, very small now, Laura. It used to be so much bigger. And also in Canada as well. Canada was always a big one. But that's shrinking as well. And you hate to see it. Like Sony Japan just absolutely just got rid of everything over there. And that's another one as well. That sucks because they were responsible for so much. And they also helped with other teams as well. And you know that those developers are just going to go to the wind. Like, who knows? It's always nice to hear this person joining that team and that, but, you know, how much are they really going to affect it? I always feel like instead of just letting the developers go like that, they should nearly form their own team, you know, and then buy them as a team. I know that sounds crazy, but that's how I feel. Because it's just horrible. Like things like Visceral, long gone, or who created the Dead Space series. And you've got like United Front Games, who made Sleeping Dogs, and then they were just fucking boom, gone like that. Square Enix really dropped the ball on that one. They didn't see the potential of Sleeping Dogs. Clearly they don't play their own games, because Sleeping Dogs is one of the coolest fucking games out there. Some would say even better than some of the GTA games, because they got combat right, and it's a big issue with the GTA games. Hand-to-hand combat is a joke. But Sleeping Dogs is super fun. Can you imagine like that game with some of the engines that we have nowadays, and it still holds up to this day. So it's sad to see these teams disappear. I don't like, if a team is going and the whole studio is shutting down or whatever, it is what it is. Usually it's a business thing, you know. But when you're part of a bigger publisher and they basically just break you down, it's horrible. It's horrible. It just makes all your past work feel like nothing as well, you know. You just become another cog in the wheel, and it does feel like a giant corporation just breaking off pieces of a company and selling them, and it's horrible. But yeah, so with Battlefield, they're definitely going to be the big shooter for this year. We'll see how things are going. It's going back to a modern warfare, whereas Call of Duty is going back to World War II this year, which I think may be a misstep, but we'll see. We'll see. The Battlefield, they're talking of maps with 128 people. They're kind of trying to mix in, you know, the fucking Battle Royale that's everywhere now. They had, I think it was Fireteam on one of the old Battlefields. Didn't do that well at all. But you can see how much the world of Battle Royale is changing so much constantly. Sleeping Dogs was great. It really was, yeah. Xbox used it. It does, yeah. Good God. Yeah, like, it definitely had a lot of, like, weirdness to it, Sleeping Dogs as well. But you could tell that was, like, an old, like, 360 engine for sure. Ba-bum. Battlefield 3 was the shit. Exactly, right? I had heard that it was supposed to be like Bad Company 3, but I don't know what's becoming of that. Like, Battlefield 4 was a lot of fun as well. Unfortunately, it was kind of dogged down by a lot of things like their Levolution. They constantly were trying to improve on that instead of making the game as fun as it could be. But a lot of hardcore fans still play BF4. And then Battlefield Hardline was made by Visceral, who made Dead Space. Such a great team. They made Dante's Inferno as well, and now they're gone. Like, if you have a company that's able to go from survival horror, some of the best survival horror, to like a Battlefield game, my God, to Dante's Inferno, you need to get that team. Like, do not let it go. Hold on to it. When they can do multiple genres like that, that's a rare thing. Very, very rare. But yeah, I'm excited for Battlefield. It'd be nice to bring it back. This is just obviously a concept piece. This is all leaked by a well-known leaker over on Twitter, Tom Henderson. That's just, like I said, a concept art piece. This is some drawings people have made of the actual idea of a map. You can tell it's just basic stuff, but you know, I think a lot of these leaks come in, and it's just like a giant dick right there. A lot of these leaks come in at the cost maybe of giving up their identity, so they're a little bit worried. So that's why you're gonna have literally like shady shit like that going on. That's the beauty of the leaks. Sometimes, you know, you can get real lucky, but it's clear that as we get closer and closer to E3, there's gonna be a massive blowout for sure. So yeah, there's been a couple of missteps with Battlefield 1 and Battlefield 5. A lot of people did not like the mission structure. So yeah, let's hope they've taken all that on board. It's clear they want to go for a heavy like weather system this time. It's definitely giving me Just Cause vibes, just in that little concept art piece. But who knows? We don't know until we know. It's better in some ways, but not in others. Hardline was also... Yeah, see, Hardline was like cops and robbers. It was super cool. It was super different. That's what I loved about it. It's like, oh wow, it felt closer to Payday, if I'm being perfectly honest. But I don't think there's nothing wrong with that. It was a nice change of pace, actually. It was surprising. But I don't think it lit up the charts, and that's the issue. People see a subtitle and they think side game, you know. This is why I see a lot of these indie games, and they have massive like subtitles, you know, in their name. And it'll be the first of that series, or you know, that kind of indie game. And I'm like, why have you such a drawn out name? Not only can nobody remember it, but it makes it sound like it's the second in the series, or something like that, or a side game in the series. So most people will just gloss over it. They were working on MS Paint. Yeah, exactly. But you know how it is. Everybody's just dying for some news. I think they're just going to call it Battlefield, like even not Battlefield 6. Just like the old-timey weapons. Yeah. I think what happened was there was such a rush to go back to World War 1 and 2 because that's where, you know, a lot of them started. And we realized is when we got it, it really wasn't what we wanted. But they all sell like hotcakes, so it's all good. Anyway, so that is today's Daily Dose. Very nice. We started off with this new game, Crowsworn. Very Hollow Knight inspired, for sure. A Kickstarter is launching pretty soon for that one. Like I said, I'll never knock a game for being inspired by another. It just means I get to enjoy all that goodness, you know, until the next Hollow Knight comes out. You know what I mean? Hell yes. And then we talked about the whole Days Gone 2 possibility and what's been going on over there at Sony. It's definitely going to be a hot topic to talk about for a while now, you know, because Sony just refused to talk about it. And yeah, it's going to be like an infection that they don't actually end up doing nothing about. And what happens? It just gets worse and worse. I hope we get a Days Gone 2. I really do. I would take a Days Gone 2 over Last of Us Remake, that's for sure. And not enough time has passed, and you threaten the, you know, the perfection of the first Last of Us Part 1. And they don't seem to realize that, you know, you could easily fuck up the old one as well by ruining things. Dun-dun. Yeah, is to refuse. Yeah, I know, like, it is a good, like, usually that's a good rule of thumb. It's best to say nothing at all. But when all this stuff is happening, yeah, it's just gonna snowball into a horrible, like, PR mess for them. I think things are fine. People are just worried that, you know, oh, they're restructuring and we're not going to get any games, blah, 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 blah. I think it's fine. Like, most of Sony studios have at least 1 or 2 games coming out this generation. What's wrong is game development's just getting so expensive that they're trying to be as financially viable, you know. Instead of these companies going forward saying, you know, we're here to fucking win, we're here to make money. Now it's like, we're here to survive. And I don't like when companies are like that, because they tend to be less innovative, they take less risks, and some of Sony's best games is when they've taken risks, when they've just gone, yeah, go make your game, and they end up being fucking amazing. And I feel like Nintendo is the only studio who's really out there taking risks, you know. They're very old school when it comes to anything online or internet-wise, you know. They're very behind in all that, Nintendo. But in terms of their games, like, they're still making magic. They still have got that untapped pool of magic. And they still innovate, you know? They still innovate. A lot of people might say Mario hasn't changed too much over the years, especially the 3D ones. But I think it's been enough to keep it quite fresh. And we'll see where it goes, of course. Yeah, and then with Xbox, their magic is the magical bottomless pit of Bill Gates' pockets. So their innovation is through buying studios. I'm okay with it. Like, it does suck in a way, especially when we come to exclusives. But it's much better than them just buying games. It's what happened with Tomb Raider and things like that. It's foolishness when you do that, just to keep it off another platform. It's direct, like, fuck you to all the fans, not just any other fans, you know. Because it leaves a sour taste in my mouth when I'm playing a game on a console that's been bought that you can't play it on another. It's like, Jesus. Where most of the console warriors are like, meh. But, you know, anyone over the age of, you know, 12, at least mentally over the age of 12, shouldn't actually think like that. At the end of the day, we want these games to be on everything so we can play more of them, you know, make sure the studios are viable and we get sequels. But, yeah, we'll see. Sony definitely pushing towards mobile now, pushing towards other media like movies and TV shows. We'll see if it pays off. We'll see. It's interesting times for sure. It's very early days. All the 3 big publishers are fine. The big manufacturers, everything's fine. It's the start of a generation. Things are a little bit uncertain. I promise you, there's no need to worry about it. All good. In fact, all this kind of talk and competition and Game Pass and all that. Oh, it's great. It's great. It's going to work out great for us, the consumer, because we get all the deals. Hell yeah! But yeah, you're dead right about that. Interesting. Alright, cool. That's everything we went over today. Lots of cool news. I love it. I love it. Nice to start off the week with some good conversations for sure. Hell yes.